Hello friends, if you're new to the channel, my name is Abhinav Kumar and I'm an immigrant doctor to the UK, and I like to talk about how to make yourself resilient to any financial problem, as well as how to make yourself the most useful you can to the country. So in this video I'm going to talk about the 7 stages of financial independence that I just came across. So it's really a good concept to try to break down the numbers, how much money we really need. If you directly think that you will want maybe £1 million or £2 million to retire and live independently free wherever you want, then that's quite an unreachable target when you take a look at it as such a big number. And so what these stages allow is to break this goal of financial independence into 7 different components, from the most basic to the most advanced, where you ultimately want to be. And in that way, as you progress along, you can have a target in sight that you want to achieve before you move on to something next. So that will really help you in trying to figure out how to plan your financial journey best. So let's begin. The stage 0 is what it's called, is financial dependence. Financial dependence is, let's say, anyone who's financially completely dependent on someone else. It can be children who are completely reliant on their parents for their financial needs, for their housing, clothing, food, and pretty much everything that they will ever need while they are still kids. Then it's not just the kids. You can also be a financially dependent adult, or even just a dependent adult in general. Let's say you've had a loss of a job and you have no money saved up, or you came across a disability that has rendered you unable to work for a long duration of time, and you don't have an income protection insurance in place. Yeah, those things exist. So things like that will really put you in a financially dependent position. And so that is stage 0. And so with that, we come to the first stage of your journey to financial independence. And that is financial solvency. So coming from dependence to solvency, what has changed? It means you are able to make up for your living expenses and being current on your debts. The one thing that people really struggle with is having a lot of debt. So when they are indebted, then they will not be able to do a lot of things because that's really always holding them back. So the first step is to always pay off your debt on time. Of course, you will still have bigger debts, like let's say mortgage, for example. But the credit card debts and your personal loans and student loans, being current and paying them on time regularly is what I would call stage 1, financial solvency. You're solvent. Now stage 2 is called financial stability, where you're starting to have some margin in your finances. So, stage 1 was financial solvency, where let's say if your teenage son is able to move out or is able to pay for all his living expenses, etc. And so he's not really reliant on you for his day-to-day needs. That will be financial solvency. Now, if that son starts developing an emergency fund, let's say £1,000 in savings, that would make him financially stable. So where could you see this in action? So let's say if you have £1,000 saved up and you get a puncture and you need a tire change, then £100 for a new tire will not sink him. He will still be financially stable at the end of it. He will just need to dip into the savings, but at least he will not have to go into debt. So that is called being financially stable. Now, of course, the amount of money needed to make you financially stable will vary with age. So you've got a young person for whom £1,000 of savings will be just fine for calling him financially stable. But for an adult, the number will be a little bit higher. It can range from £1,000 to £10,000 and even more to be called financially stable. But yeah, that's the rough idea. So that any random expense that comes along, you're able to meet it upfront without having to go on debt. So the third stage of financial independence is something called debt freedom. So the idea of being free from the encumbrances of debt is a very worthy goal. And we should all strive to be free from debt, at least consumer debt. I mean, of course, debt can be useful at certain times, and there are definitely good examples for that. But the ideal goal in life, at least, is stage 3, to be free from any debt. That's what most people advise you to be anyway. Because you see, the problem with debt is that it commits you to certain actions in the future. If you have a lot of credit card debt, you cannot afford to be fired from your job, and so you need to work towards that. If you have any other debt that you need to pay off, you will need to take on extra shifts, or maybe planning a vacation is out of scope because you're still trying to take care of the debt. I mean the more consumer debt like credit cards, not really the mortgage side of things. So if you want freedom in your life, then your goal should be to be free from consumer debt. If someone has, let's say, £10,000 saved up and they don't have any consumer debt, then they are very, very independent. If they need to move houses, a better house comes up in the market, they can afford to do that. If they need to leave the job for some time and go take care of their elderly mother for a short duration, they can easily afford to do that. And if something breaks down, they can easily afford to take care of that breakdown without having it really, burn a hole in their pockets. So good amount of savings, like £10,000 of range, is a good goal to have to be debt free. Now the next 3 stages is where things get interesting. So now if you're debt free, there's only one direction that you can head, upwards. So if you were to ask somebody a question, how much money do you need to retire? They will come up with all sorts of big numbers. So it could be like, a number that accommodates things like living in London, living luxuriously, comfortably. Or for the other end, you could even ask something like, how much is needed to retire? Not how much do you want to retire with, how much do you really need to retire? And so those numbers could be widely different. If your goal is to maybe live in London and have a very luxurious life, you will still need to work a lot more up the financial ladder. But if your goal is to just, have a very comfortable life by the beach in Brighton, then your goal will be comparatively less amount of money. So that's where the next 3 stages come into play. Now, stage 4 is called financial security, where you have enough money coming in from your investment portfolio to take care of all your basic living expenses. So it will be able to cover your mortgage, it will be able to cover your basic foods and necessities, electricity, utility bills, council tax, and the very basics. It will keep putting fuel in your car, and it will maintain your car insurance and all the necessities. You won't be able to have a luxurious lifestyle with it, but at least you will be financially secure that if you keep living at this level without working a day in your life, you could pretty much do it, because your investment portfolio, your money, is working for you to make more money. And so if you were, let's say, disabled and could not work another day in your life, you would be okay once you're financially secure. Now, of course, we will want to work upwards from just meeting the basic needs. And so stage 5 is called financial independence. And this is what we mostly look towards as our North Star. So when you come to stage 5, let's say you could live on £1,500 a month of expenses, but you are currently maintaining a lifestyle that costs you about £3,000 a month. So financial independence means you can continue to live your £3,000 per month lifestyle with your investment portfolio. And so whereas stage 4 was you needed to drop down to the £1,500, my current lifestyle is just the right one. So that is called stage 5, financial independence. However, there is another. There are 2. There are 2 more levels above this that we need to talk about, because the journey doesn't end at this point. And so that brings us to stage 6, financial freedom. In financial freedom, now we are starting to talk about things that maybe exceed the basic financial independence lifestyle. Let's say, for example, I would like to own a second home in Brighton. And in that case, I need to be able to afford that. Or let's say I want to buy the latest car, or maybe upgrade my phone every year to the latest version. So these kind of things require you to put in extra expenses forward. And so being able to meet your financial ambitions with the help of your portfolio is called financial freedom. At this point, you are able to live your lifestyle the way you are living, your £3,000 a month lifestyle. But if needed, you can be able to increase your expenses without having a real, reconsideration of what to sell, what to keep. You could just buy more, or you could just travel more. You could just experience life a lot more if you wanted to. And so work would be purely optional at this stage. Now finally, at the end of it, we come to stage 7, financial abundance. At this point, you have more money than what you know what to do with. And so you can live your life as comfortably as you want, but you'll still have a lot more money. I'm talking about multimillionaires. So at that point, you need to decide what's the best use of your money. Whether to give it to charities to help bring about social change in the environment around you, or to give it to people to help them with their daily needs, or create more jobs by creating more industries, or anything else that tickles your fancy. So that would be the ultimate stage 7, financial abundance. And of course, stage 7 is like the ultimate North Star that you should have. From stage 5 onwards, I would say is a good point if you want to stop. But yeah, that's not what you should set out to achieve. And so that's it. These are the 7 stages of financial journey that I guess once we break our goal into these 7 segments, we will be able to easily categorize where we are and what's the next feasible stage that we need to reach to, rather than just thinking, oh my god, I need to get to a million bajillion pounds a year and then feel defeated because of that. So that's it. I hope you like this video. If you have any suggestions or comments, drop them in the comment box below. And yeah, I will check you out in the next one. See ya.